Good evening, good evening, good evening to everyone. As always, I would like to thank my subscribers and my viewers for viewing and subscribing to my channel. Thank you so much for holding me down over the last past, I want to say about maybe 8 or 9 months now since I've been doing this. And it's been of a blessing to quite a few people. So thank you for all of the support, the love, the phone calls, text messages, everything that you guys do to allow me to see that you are enjoying and you're getting something out of this experience. So thank you for taking this journey with me, man. I really do appreciate it. Um, I would like to thank my men viewers and also my lady viewers as well. And anyone else, if this doesn't resonate to you, pass it on to someone else that will get something out of it. Okay, so let's get started. I think I'm going to call this one Three Strikes, You're Out. Three strikes, you're out. And I got this concept because I always give examples of what happens in my own life and also what I do know. So I got this concept and I came up with this topic because the three strike rule. It applies in so many different ways, and depending on how you choose to use it in your life, I hope that you stick to it because it's so true. And I'm going to break it down and give you some examples, and I'll even give you some of my own personal situations. Here we go. All right, so let's start off with examples. As you know, three strikes you're out. That's pretty common for baseball. When the pitcher's up at the mound and he throws his strikes, and if he gets the batter out, it's usually 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out. So when that rule applies to life, okay, let's say for instance, and I always like to start off with a friendship, okay? With a friendship, there is respect and also what I like to definitely throw in there is the loyalty part. Almost like a relationship between a man and a woman. But you can also have that within your friendship if, same sex or opposite sex. All right. And you're friends with someone. All right. What I expect out of my friends if they mess up is for it not to be the same thing all the time. Okay. If you put a dent in my car, I can get over that, but the next time you borrow my car and you crash it, and it's a bad crash to the point where there's been some damage done to it and it needs to be fixed, I would expect for you to help me get it fixed, okay? Versus a dent we can get out. I can do that myself as long as you apologize. But if it's crashed to the point where there's some major work that needs to be done, then that's something that we need to do together. Let's say the third time you took my car and I trusted you yet again. It was an emergency or something like that, and you borrowed the car, and this time it's totaled. I'm gonna look at you in a different way. You know what I mean? Because I'm going to say to myself, hey, look, this guy or this girl, I guess you can say chick, then borrowed my car for the third time, and, they done got it crashed, it's totaled, it's unusable, I can't do anything with it, and now they don't want no parts of the situation. I am going to look at you in a different way if this happens a third time. I can't look at you the same as if, nothing happened and I let it go the first and second time. The third time around, I'm definitely going to look at you in a different way. And I'm going to say, I don't think that you really value me as a friend. I don't think that you when you had my property, you took care of it like I would take care of your stuff. So that situation would definitely put me and my friend at a standstill. Our relationship would be very questionable at that point in time. All right. Let's say it's money, you know. The first time, they didn't give it back. Maybe it was $20 or $40. I can bite that. Let's say the second time they didn't give it back and it was like I don't know, $100 or a little bit over 100. I might bite that. But let's say, for instance, we get to close to 1,000 or a little bit over $1,000, and you just totally forget about me, then we also have a problem, because now, like I said before in one of my other videos, me and my friends were all married. We've all been married, and we all have families and things like that. So if I borrow a certain amount or something like that, I always pay back. I never hold their money. I don't care how much it is, because it's the principle behind it. And then I don't believe in breaking up a friendship over money. But there comes a time when you have to take a stand, because if you fall for anything, you'll fall for everything. You know what I mean? So I'm a person that believes in the borrowing system. When it comes down to friends, I'd rather not do it. But if I have to, I want to pay them back, so I expect the same treatment. Okay? And let's take it to relationships. Okay? I believe that in relationships, sometimes there is a cycle that a person may have, and it may run into quite a few times that this person is doing the same thing over and over, man or woman, okay? And they don't want to face it, so one thing that they continue to do is they run away from the issue itself, instead of saying, okay, this is what's going on, so I just want to take this time to actually think about what I'm doing, instead of constantly putting you in that situation. But what I see people do a lot of the times is they want their cake and they want to eat it too. So they'll tell you what you want to hear instead of what you need to hear in order to make the right decision. I was speaking to someone on the phone, I want to say a couple days ago or maybe a day ago, and one of the things this man said to me was, if people would just tell how they really feel, as opposed to telling what you want or they think you want to hear, then the situation probably would be a lot better. What I see in a lot of situations is, and this is not to throw my women viewers and listeners under the bus, but what I see a lot of times is women have the upper hand in a lot of situations, because for one, you guys have the law on your side. So when it comes down to property and where you guys live and things like that, that favors the woman more than it does the man. So the upper hand automatically happens. So what happens is, if that cycle continues and then the third or fourth time the law has to get involved, I don't think that's right, because the upper hand was already there. You understand? If you have your place and you ask that man to come live with you, then you have the upper hand. If something happens, you can tell him to leave, but then that puts him out in the cold. So where does that leave him? If you tell the person ahead of time, then it gives them enough time to get themselves together. Don't spend up that person's money or have them pay rent if you know that you are going to leave them. That's totally unfair. I had that done to me. Okay? And I could be honest enough to say that when I'm in a relationship, I can put my all into my relationship. So what I noticed with me versus the first time I got married and the second time I got married is I put my family first, which was probably the worst thing that I could do. I did not even acknowledge myself in the situation. So unselfishly, I always wanted to make sure whatever I had, they had what they needed at any given time. So when the time came for, um, you know, the opposite party to say, "Oh, I want to part ways" or whatever, the upper hand was there where I basically was left out in the cold. I didn't have anything because everything financially, everything that I had physically, I gave all into my relationship and into my family. So the upper hand was given to the other person. Totally was unfair, so I had to look at it and say, all right, I lost here. I lost big time, so the next thing I had to do was prepare myself mentally and physically the best way that I knew how, because I was already going through a medical issue. I had already had my fourth surgery. um, Not to mention, I got some blood pressure issues and also epilepsy too. So that played a big factor in all of everything that I had going on. I had to make sure that I didn't have a seizure throughout all of this. I had to try to keep my blood pressure down as much as possible, along with my back pain, which was kind of difficult for me in the beginning. So, what I had to learn how to do is I told myself that I'm going to go back to the three strike rule, because prior to anything, I noticed that there was a cycle with my previous person. There was a cycle, and we ran into this cycle several times to where I stuck around because I was like, I love her. You know what I mean? I'm going to give it my all no matter what, because when I love hard. So there was a cycle. It kept going on and on and on. And, I swore up and down that once we were wed, and married, that it would never happen, and it did. So whose fault was that? That was mine. I should have stuck to the three strike rule, but I didn't. Sometimes we're hard headed as men. We like to do things the opposite way and the hard way, and the end result sometimes is not what we really want it to be. Okay. So I had to take that one on the chin. There was a lot of things that I did in my past life, and I said, you know what, karma came back this time and it bit me real hard. So what do I do? Do I sit here and, just um, continue to live in my vomit or lay in my vomit? And, they say when you make your bed, you got to lay in it. And do I just sit here and take this? And I told myself, no. What you need to do is you need to go back to what you used to be like. And I'm not saying the person I used to be, but set some of those values for myself. And one of those values is the three strike rule. The three strike rule for me is you can do it to me once. You may be able to do it to me twice, but after the third time, I'm going to see it for what it is and I'm going to dismiss it. And I'm getting older. How many times can you continue to keep putting yourself in the same situation if you are 30 plus years old, or you're the end of your 30s going into your 40s, and because like I said in one of my other videos, once you hit that 40 mark, it's hard to change. You are pretty set for the rest of your life. So you cannot change the same things that you could change if you were younger. It's easier to adapt when you're young and you're going through life-changing experiences. You can say, all right, I'm young enough, I can learn this lesson and I can get over it. By the time you get older, you got to say to yourself, this is pretty dumb for me to keep doing this, and I'm going through a lot. So I had to say that to myself, being married the second time, and, not only being married the second time, but, having a family, kids involved, and things like that. So I said to myself, this will never happen again. I will not allow anyone to get me to that point. Okay. Which brings me to my next example. Okay. There is someone that I know, and beautiful person. I can just say that much, because I never want to be too open about someone else that probably wouldn't want me to, put them out there like that. But I'm just gonna say this much: this person has gone through a lot in their life. All right, and when I met them, they were just getting over a situation in their life, and from what I can tell, um, it was recent, and what you would call that is recent history. But one of the things that I noticed about them right away is they continue to do the same thing several times in their life, and this is while I, was a part of their life. When I became a part of their life, I could see the cycle, you know, starting. And one of the things I never did was I never pinpointed it out to them directly because I never wanted to hurt their feelings, nor um, did I want them to feel like, oh, they are not seeing me for the new person that I'm trying to be. Okay. So for a while, to protect myself, what I had to do was I had to pretend like it didn't even happen. Okay. But after a certain period of time, when someone keeps doing the same thing over and over, you got to call them out on what they're doing, because they can't make it better if they continue to keep doing what they're doing. So happened one time, then it happened again, then it happened again, then it happened again, then it happened again, and finally, to the point I said to myself, no, no. Because one thing I've noticed, I've had a lot of friends and I've been in a lot of relationships where I've put myself in that category. And when you keep putting yourself in that category, people tend to take advantage of your kindness. Don't allow anyone to take your kindness for a weakness. You have to stand up for yourself. You have to know your self-worth in any type of situation. Problem is, when I pinpointed this to that person, they got upset. Why? Because after the third time, what I should have done was I should have addressed it. Then maybe they would have known right then and there that, all right, I can't do this to them. I have to do better. I have to make better decisions when it comes down to this particular person. I'm not going to be able to do or treat this person or this friend like I treated the other friend, this relationship like I treated the other relationship. They did not acknowledge that because I waited too late. Which brings me to my next point. In that 3-strike rule, don't wait too late to tell the person. Tell them right away. When you wait to tell someone, it makes them feel like everything is okay. It makes the other person to feel like everything is okay. I can continue to do it because they did not say anything the first few times. You see what I'm saying? If you don't open up your mouth, then you deserve to be taken advantage of. Honestly, that is your dumbness. Especially if you're in your late 30s going into your 40s, if you are in your late 20s going into your 30s. There comes a point in time where you have to say to yourself that I have to do better as a man or as a woman. I can't keep making the decisions that got me to where I'm at if it's not the right decision. Negativity and not enough positive in a situation is going to end in a result where someone is going to either get hurt, get their feelings hurt, physically hurt, or something like that. And what I noticed was there was too many things going on, but I just never said the right things. I always said what the person needed to hear at the time. Now, I would tell them what was right for everything else except for how I felt like they were treating me, which was not a good thing. I constantly let them know everything else, but when it came down to me, it was like, oh, I'm okay. Until the button was finally pushed and I had to say something. Hey, look, this ain't working. I can't keep going back and forth like this. I can't be, because everybody gets tired. Even a dog gets tired, y'all. You cannot treat people like that. There has to be some type of order in the situation, or someone or something will happen in that situation. And I try to explain that to the person several times. I try to, go around it as much as possible, but it just was not clicking where, all right, I need to do better. If one of the things I kept hearing that person say was what they went through. Let me tell you something, people. Okay, I am not going to make someone pay for anything that someone else did to me in my life. I will not do that. It's not going to happen. That person does not deserve to be treated like someone else treated you. And you have to be able to accept that. If you can't, then there should not have been any room for a friendship, relationship, or anything from the start. You do not lead someone on that way, and then when you finally realize, oh, this is how it is, and you just push them out like that, what do you expect? And what I hear a lot of women or even some men say, oh, they keep bothering me, but why are they bothering you? How did you end that situation? What did you say to that person? How did you say it? Did you give them an option? Did you tell your truth, your whole truth in the situation, and allow them to make the decision? That was another thing that person said to me on the phone. Tell the whole truth so that that person can make their decision on what they want to do with what you said to them. What I see a lot of people doing is, you'll give out some of the information, but you won't give the whole thing. And then you'll wait until, all right, things calm down. And then you'll go back to that person and you'll say, oh, this is what really happened. Let me tell you something, people. What ends up happening is now they got to heal from the things that they just found out. And they're still dealing with the healing from what you already did. That's a lot to deal with. That's enough to make anybody go insane. I used to tell everybody that I was in a relationship with and my friendships, everything, I would tell them, just tell me the truth. If you wait, it's going to put our relationship in a big, crazy chaos situation after I find out. Because now I got to deal with that too. That is so unfair. That is so selfish. Be honest. And that's why I'm going back to the 3-strike rule. With myself, I have to do 3 strikes, you're out. Because if I don't, then I'm going to allow anything and anybody to do whatever they want to me for as long as they want to do it for. Honestly. And I've done it. I've done it in so many different relationships where I just kept going back. I've done it in so many friendships where I'm always the one who say, all right, let's forget about it. I'm 36 years old. I'll be 37 the end of the summer. Do you think I have enough time to continue to keep going through that cycle again? No, I don't. That is crazy. For anybody. Now I have to tell myself that it's time for me to do something different. If you can't be at least loyal to me, we have nothing to talk about. I'm a loyal person to every one of my friends, to everybody that I've ever been with. So what I expect is fairness. If you can't be fair, mutual is what I always say. If you can't be fair, then there's nothing for us to talk about. That's where that loyalty comes in at with the fairness. That's enough. That's enough to save a relationship. That's enough to save the friendship. That's enough. I mean, if you break that friend's car, at least say, all right, I'm going to help you pay for it. Okay? If you know that you're the person in a relationship that don't want to be with that other person anymore, then be straight up and honest enough with them Don't wait until the very end when you decide to do it to tell them. That is so unfair. Tell them, give them months in advance, give them weeks in advance. Tell them this is what's about to happen. Give them a chance to at least allow them to see if they're going to make a change within the situation. Give them that chance, because you don't know what they're going through. They don't know what you're going through. We think we know each other when we're in a relationship or a friendship, but we really don't know each other. I always tell people you won't know that person until they're dead and gone. That's when you'll fully know, because you can say, I knew them. I knew how they reacted to certain things. I knew exactly what they would say in this situation. Okay? I had a friend and an ex-fiance that recently just died, and even after our relationship, we remained friends over the years. So when she called me and told me that she needed to talk to me, I knew that it was something serious. But one of the things I was happy to know before she died, she knew Kenton. She knew me. She knew me. And I valued that. That loyalty that was within her, it remained even when we were on the outs. I still got the phone calls every now and then, special phone calls, text messages for my birthday, things like that. I mean, it didn't stop because of her loyalty. So even if she told me, hey, look, this is what it's going to be, you know what I mean? I can respect that because she was a straight up person. That's who she was to me. We barely hid anything from each other once we became friends versus relationship, couple, companions, things like that. Our friendship was much stronger than our relationship. And I enjoyed being that to her. She enjoyed being that to me. But you don't get that anymore. My mom and dad, they didn't like each other. Just keep it real straight up. 30-something years of marriage and being together and stuff like that. They did not like each other, but they loved each other. Their loyalty for one another outweighed anything. You don't have to like your mate. You don't have to like your friend. You don't, but love them enough to respect them and show them that loyalty. That is all you need to do to remain a friend and to remain in that relationship. Fairness, that's it. Or 1, 2, 3, you're out of here. I am not going to keep putting up with it. That's what you got to say to yourself, because what ends up happening is you don't put a lot into it. They have not put the same amount of effort into it as you did. And you know what ends up happening? You get the stress, you get the anxiety, you become mentally disturbed because of what this person has said and did to you, and they are living their life. They move on. Seriously. There's friends I got tired of, there's relationships I got tired of, and I just told myself that this year I was not going to put up with it. Ask some of my friends now, that call me and I don't answer my phone. I'm straight up. I will not answer you. You better be sick. Something it better be going on when you give me that phone call. You better leave a message or you will not hear from me, because I just don't have time for it anymore. I'm at that stage in my life where I'm not going to put up with a lot. And if I've given you 3, 4, 5 times, you're lucky. Because anybody that know me, they will tell you he's usually done with it after the 3rd time. So be that, at least for yourself. Do that for yourself. Because if you stand for something, you will stand for anything. If you're going to stand for something, let it be something that's meaningful, something that you are going to prosper from, something that's going to benefit someone else's life and not just your life. and tell somebody ahead of time. Give them the truth, honesty in the situation all the way. I don't care how bad it is. Tell them what it is. Give them the option to make that decision. If you don't, you're being selfish, and that's real. So that's all I got to say, y'all. 1, 2, 3. You're out of here. All right? I love y'all. I am going to continue to keep posting. You will see me on. I know I posted last week. I'm trying to be a little consistent with my videos at least once a week, so y'all will have time to catch up. If you missed any, go back. There's so many on here that you can get something out of. You can tell someone else. I'm telling you, this is a good thing that I decided to start doing, and I'm glad that I did, because it seems like a lot of people is getting something out of it. Go back, look at the friendship thing, or look at the separation thing, everything, because I'm going to give more topics and videos on that separation thing and how it does affect the kids. All right, y'all need that information. Y'all need to know. Okay, I love y'all. Enjoy your week. Be safe. I will see and talk to y'all soon. Peace.